All right, Peter, it is my pleasure to have an opportunity to talk to one of the main figureheads here of Professional Fighters League is Peter Murray. Um, there's a lot to talk about today. I am excited to talk to you to hear about the new direction for 2025 for Professional Fighters League. What can you tell us? I mean, we know some of the stuff started to break out a little bit yesterday with Ariel Hawani and a couple other publications, but I want to hear directly from you, kind of some of the things that are going on.
Yeah, Brian, good to see you. Yeah, we're excited. This is another a turning point, for the PFL as we're continuing to advance, grow the sport, but grow the league, around the world. And we're excited about a new format, innovation. And we're announcing that our global season, which is on ESPN here in the US, distributed around the world, will now be a single elimination format. And this all, we love tournaments. It's all merit based. And but we talked to fighters, we talked to fans, and they both had a say. And then we cooked it up with the team, and so we'll have the first round, if you will. That'll be April. June will be the semifinals, and the finals will be in August. And what I really like is, we're compressing the season, which, historically kind of ran four events, like for fighters, four fights over 8 months.
Mhm.
And now we're compressing the PFL World Tournament, which starts this April, into 5 months. So
Mhm.
starts in April, ends in, April, May, June, July, ends in August. So
Mhm.
5 months. And we could really capture the attention of fans so they can follow this, I think, more seamlessly.
Yeah.
And so I think it addresses that. So we're excited about it.
Yeah, that also that is an exciting change. And so you mentioned essentially, I think all of this, if I'm not mistaken, takes place within 5 months, right?
Correct.
Okay. So the end of the year, the rest of the year, how will matchmaking be handled for fighters who were in the tournament, weren't in the tournament, and what else will be going on in regards to fights outside of the tournament?
Well, the key thing, like first about the tournament, is it's eight weight classes.
Hmm.
Our season format, year over year, we had six weight classes. So the
Right.
World PFL World Tournament now has eight weight classes, eight fighters per weight class. And we're investing $20 million into
Yeah.
fighter compensation plus bonuses. So, and it's a traditional seating. So, in the first round, you'll have the eighth seed matched up with the number one seed, and
Hmm.
fifth seed, number four seed, and so they have to work their way through it. So traditional format works for NCAA and March Madness. We're applying it to MMA.
Hmm.
And so, essentially, that's in the tournament. Outside of the tournament on these events, tied to your question, is we're really excited also about, discovery and giving early stage pro fighters, rising stars, opportunities to develop, to
Hmm.
fight, to compete on a big stage and showcase that talent. So we'll have some of those fights on these cards, in addition to what I would say is other great fighters and matchups that fans want to see. It's
Hmm.
all about the tournament, but we still have the future of the sport and rising stars, plus some other marquee talent in some mat and showcase bouts.
Okay. Okay. So would that also leave room for maybe like crossover fights and things like that? So like obviously we've talked about Jake Paul making his PFL debut at some point in 2025. Um uh if Francis Ngannou gets back into the PFL Smart Cage in 2025, uh would he be would someone like him be in the tournament, or would someone like him be competing in other fights outside of that?
Yeah, right. So, Jake Francis will continue on that super fights platform.
Okay.
And so when you think about, the PFL's system, the foundation is really the international leagues. So
Yes.
PFL Europe in 2025 in its third year,
Hmm.
right, and growing and creating stars. Two PFL, Arabia, PFL MENA,
Hmm.
it's going into its second season, right?
Okay.
And then PFL Africa will launch in June of
Okay.
2025. Francis Ngannou, the chairman.
Hmm.
We've already made fighter selections. We'll be announcing that in the coming weeks and the next few months. So those fighters compete in the same world tournament, bracket and format,
Hmm.
and they have the opportunity to become regional champions, earn their way there, and then for some, they have a pathway opportunity up to then the world tournament that you're talking about now, right?
Yep.
Distributed to 190 countries. Over a third of the talent is ranked in the top 25 in the world. And then on top of that, we have pathway opportunities for the Champion Series as well as the Super Fight platform.
Okay. And so when we talk about seeding for the tournaments, what are the factors that will play in regards to who's seated where and how that shakes out?
Yeah, we'll be announcing the full roster, okay, and for each weight class in the World Tournament, in addition to the seedings next month.
Okay.
So that'll start rolling out. But it's a traditional seating structure, and what's great about it is it really is anybody's. It's anybody's fight. It's anybody's opportunity to move ahead. It's
Okay.
all about one shot. And I think we can all relate to one shot in life and in any or every given day, and how athletes have to approach every day, that emotional journey, that physical journey. What you put in every day, daily, is about one shot. But then getting in the cage tied to single elimination, you got one shot and you got to
Yeah.
win.
Yeah.
And you lose, you go home.
Hmm.
And so I think that brings more intensity to the format, to the ride that we're gonna give fans. But fighters are really down with it. You'll be hearing from some of the athletes this week, from Phil Davis to Vassal and Primus and others, talking about one shot and why they like this format.
Hmm.
So really, that's what it's all about. And we're here to support their journeys and tell their great stories, man.
Yeah. So if someone, say for instance, is in the tournament, right, and they lose early in the rounds, will they be eligible to be on other cards like later in the year?
Great question. Yes. I mean, so it's not like a fighter or, the majority of our fighters, if, they don't advance
Hmm.
after their first fight, let's say in that first round, they're not going to have additional opportunities to fight in 2025. No, we have over 30 events this year on our calendar.
Hmm.
And so, some fighters will be matched up to continue to prove themselves, advance their careers, put on, great performance, and see what it leads to by the end of the year and how it sets them up for next year, on world tournament cards as well as champion series cards, fights around the world in different markets. So we do have opportunities to fight fighters
Okay.
beyond, the first round.
Okay, now as far as like some of the more prominent names of people who came from Bellator, the Corey Andersons, the Pit Bulls, the Patchy Mixes, some of the guys have quite frankly expressed some level of discomfort with their situation. Are people in that realm, Cyborg as well, are they expected to be in the tournament as well, or where will they fall?
Yeah, so there will be a combination of like former Bellator fighters,
Hmm.
former PFL fighters, actually some new fighters coming in to
Hmm.
the PFL who will be in the World Tournament. And then with respect to fighters like that you mentioned, including Chris Cyborg, the Champion Series is still a property that we're going to continue with,
Hmm.
and super fights. So those fighters will have an opportunity to continue to compete, fight, as well as defend and earn the PFL World Title belt. I mean, the
Hmm.
difference with the belt systems, once you win the PFL World Tournament, That's the PFL World Tournament annual belt for that weight class.
Okay.
And when a fighter competes on the Champion Series or Super Fights, that's for a PFL World title fight. And those belts are meant to be earned, defended over time. It's
Mhm.
lineal. So that's the PFL World Champion belt.
Okay. So so you have the eight weight classes that are in the single elimination tournament, but the weight classes that exist in the champions bracket or in the champion structure, some of those championships are different, right? Because Cyborg is featherweight champion, women's featherweight champion. Um, where how is that working in regards to maybe some of the crossover, right? So if you have someone that wins the single elimination heavyweight championship, would they then go would they then is there a potential matchup between them and the PFL heavyweight champion?
Yeah, so they would have that opportunity to,
Okay,
mix it up and take on that PFL world champion in that weight class
gotcha,
over time.
gotcha.
So those are the options
Mhm.
that we have and the opportunities we can provide fighters in their pathways.
Gotcha, gotcha, gotcha. Now, are you also planning to do more events in Saudi Arabia this year than you did in 2024?
Yeah, I mean, it was a great year. We launched MMA in Saudi Arabia last February with Champs v Champs. We followed that up, with, Francis Ngannou and, the Battle of the Giants. We had our World Championship there, and we had four PFL MENA events there. So seven events,
Mhm.
that we had in KSA in 2024. In 25, we'll continue. We have a schedule of mega events in addition to PFL MENA events.
Mhm.
But with respect to PFL MENA events, that regional league in its second year, you'll see us expand into other markets throughout the Middle East beyond KSA.
Okay.
And we're in Dubai, obviously, in less than 2 weeks, January 25th, Usman versus Hughes.
Hmm.
It's a Champion Series event. It's very much turning into Dagestan versus Ireland too.
Hmm.
The narrative is basically it's the script is writing itself.
Hmm.
But we're excited about new markets, in the UAE, including Dubai,
Hmm.
and more to come in the region.
Yeah, yeah. It's definitely a lot of opportunity, a lot of differences in regards to what was done before. I guess one of my last questions is I asked Don this maybe about 18 months ago, 2 years ago. I said, would you guys ever consider doing more than MMA on a show? Because you like the title of your organization doesn't pigeonhole you into saying, hey, it's going to be mixed martial arts all the time, right? So, and because you do have so many people or a few people on your roster who have either boxing experience or boxing interest, is there ever a scenario or situation where you would have a boxing match on the show?
Yeah, I think it's a great question. Obviously, our platform, lends itself to that, right? Our name, but platform as it relates to our overarching capabilities in combat sports,
Mhm.
to stage great events, distribute them around the world. But, right now we are relentlessly focused on advancing and growing the sport of MMA around the world, building the PFL into, a powerhouse and a bigger powerhouse than we are today. And what I can tell you is we will have six international regional leagues up and running in the next 2 years.
Mhm.
Creating that Champions League of MMA. We think that we know what we're solving for fighters, for media companies, and the opportunity for fans tied to that model. And we would never say never, in terms of crossover fights or events, and then perhaps at some point in time to dial in other combat sports. But near term, our priority is growing MMA.
Gotcha. Gotcha. My last question. Uh, so a lot of this news kind of seeped out a little bit yesterday. Is there something that was missed or something that was maybe not quite right that came out yesterday that you can clarify or add on? Because we knew we found out about that we were going into tournaments. I don't think we had all of the weight classes, so that was one thing there. Obviously, the total amount that was actually going to be invested wasn't mentioned. Is there anything else that maybe didn't come out on during some of the little bit of the leaks that you feel was important information for the changes?
Yeah, no, I think just the context on Bellator, right? We acquired Bellator last year, really proud to have, acquired, the brand,
Hmm.
the business. And the driving force behind that was to acquire the fighters
Yeah.
and give them opportunity. And, we've, really we went to work this year to ensure that those fighters, fought and were active, and we had to move some things around. But like our
Mhm.
focus was to up level the quality of the roster, and we achieved that, with that acquisition. And now, the energy and the vision is behind the PFL brand
Mhm.
and our vision. And Bellator, we really have a tremendous amount of respect and value, the legacy of all those great fighters that fought, under Bellator, those great fights, those great moments, those champions. And that'll live on, obviously, in our archives and how we continue to celebrate not only what's going on in the sport today and what we're creating for tomorrow, but the history. And, it's conceivable that, there will be an opportunity to bring back some Bellator special events. We would never rule that out.
Mhm.
But what we are focused on as equally, we're relentless in focused on growing MMA and the PFL vision and the brand to simplify essentially the experience for fans and don't muddy the waters with the fighter community. Like there's two competing organizations.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. Definitely think that there is some value in that. I think that at some point it can get a little bit tough for fans to follow. So I understand that. I agree. So those Bellator champions, are they still going to be a part of PFL in 2025?
Absolutely. Oh yeah. They're part of the league. They're part of the Professional Fighters League,
Hmm.
and we're excited to again continue on and give those fighters opportunity and options. And no different than any other year, we will flip, if you will, a third of our roster. We retain, the champions, top performers, rising stars that we're excited about, fans are excited about, but we also bring in fresh talent,
Yeah.
from around the world to take on those top performers. So, that's part of the cadence year over year. We'll continue to do that as well.
Yeah, yeah. It's something else I thought about. So Holly Holm became a free agent yesterday. Well, at least that information got out there. Is she someone that you would be interested in?
Yeah, I mean, listen, I mean, we have uh, nothing but admiration for Holly, what she's achieved in her career, and look forward to having conversations with her. My fighter ops team, they're dialed in to all free agents that are coming into the mix, and I think fans would want to see her continue on, and I think it's a worthwhile conversation.
Absolutely. Well, Peter, I super appreciate your time, man. And this is a very exciting transitional time in regards to some of the things that you guys are adding for 2025. I look forward to seeing you at an event sometime during this year, and also just continue to learn more about what's happening with PFL throughout 2025.
Yeah, hey, thank you, Brian. We look forward to seeing you at an event, and you're in DC, right?
No,
Like, oh,
I'm just outside Chicago.
okay, all right, cool.
Yeah, I saw
Well,
you in DC. I
oh,
saw
that's
you.
right,
Yeah,
that's
I
right.
saw you in DC.
Well, we've
Yeah.
been to Chicago, but we'll be announcing our venues next month. We announced the broadcast schedule on ESPN for the World
Hmm.
Tournament, as well as DAZN throughout many parts of the world. Proud partners there,
Hmm.
and we've expanded our distribution to 190 countries.
Yes.
Tied to the live product. So, we're excited about that, and I'll definitely see you at events sometime soon.
Yes, sir. I appreciate it. Thank you so much.
Thanks, gents.
Have a good
Thank
day.
you. See you, boys.